Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and today we're going to be taking a look at one of the latest of the AirPod clones from Etmaxter, the i200 TWS. Keep watching to find out more. Okay, so today we can take a look at the Etmaxter i200 TWS. Now this is the latest in a long line of AirPod clones which have been flooding the market in recent months. And probably it's actually more than a year now, I think. We have had a lot of these clones in the market. But these ones are getting closer and closer and closer to the ultimate goal, which is essentially the exact same thing as AirPods, but with a lot less cost. Now we're going to cost straight away. These at the moment on special offer from the Etmaxter website, of which I will be putting links in the description below. These are currently retailing at £55 in the UK. Now that actually comes with free shipping, which is 4 to 8 days via the Yodel shipping service in the UK, but they are offering free shipping worldwide. Yep, you heard that right, free shipping worldwide. This is directly from the Etmaxter site. Like I said, I will be putting links in the description below. For me, this is actually not necessarily a game changer, but this is actually a really good thing. There are other companies out there which will sell AirPods at pretty decent prices, but some of them do free kind of national shipping or kind of local shipping, that kind of thing. Sometimes they'll offer international shipping free of charge if you ask them nicely, but this is the first one I've come across which actually offers everybody straight off the bat free worldwide shipping. Yeah, you have to wait a few days, but it's free. What more do you want? You can actually pay if you want to. You can pay a little bit more to get your parcel shipped to you a little bit quicker. Again, you can check that out in the web links that I'll provide down below. Anyway, that is enough about that. Let's have a look and see what we actually get. So first of all, as you can see, this is a very, very plain box. There is virtually nothing on the exterior sides. There's a 20 on there, which I presume is some kind of quality control marker. I'm not entirely sure. To be honest with you, I don't really care. On the front is a picture of the AirPods themselves, or the i200 TWS, and next to that is the logo for Etmaxter. So nothing particularly outlandish there, pretty much what you'd expect to see. On the back we've got a picture of the AirPods again, very, very minimalistic. All we've got there is made in China and some FCC markings, that kind of thing. So that's the exterior. Let's look at see what we get in the box. So first of all, we get our TWS wireless stereo earphones instruction booklet. This is in both Chinese and English, or English and Chinese, depending on which side of the camera you're looking from. And this just opens up to give you a list of how to use them, how to charge them, all the technical specifications, that kind of thing. Some of it is actually translated from Chinese, so it doesn't make entire sense if I'm completely honest, but ultimately is relatively straightforward to use, so you shouldn't experience any problems at all. Now, just to go through some of the actual what you get inside the packaging from what they've listed. So you get the wireless earphones, you get the charging case, you get the charging cable for the case, the instruction books, and the packaging box. Now the specifications, so the model is the i200 TWS, version 5.0 is the Bluetooth, it's 5 volts input for the charging, the battery capacity is 3.7 volts, 50 milliamp hours, and the talking time is listed as being somewhere between 2 to 3 hours. Charging time for the pods and the box itself, somewhere between 40 and 50 minutes. Profile support is HSP, HFP, A2DP, AVRCP, and that is it. Also, the sensitivity is rated at 120 decibels. The frequency response is between 20 to 20,000 hertz. And the impedance, which I can't say, is 32 ohms. Probably said that wrong as well. So in the list in there, also we get an instruction on how to use it, what the lights mean, etc, etc, which actually is pretty simple because there are pretty much no lights at all apart from the flashing light, which is actually on the front of the case. So that leads us nicely on to the actual case itself. So the box itself, as you can probably see, is pretty much what we've come to expect these days from the AirPod type clones, and this case is pretty much a one-for-one copy. The angles of the cutout are pretty much identical. The LED on the front, I think, is actually in the same place as the AirPods. I've got to be honest with you, I don't have AirPods 2 to hand to compare them directly, but I think it's in pretty much the same place. On the back of the device, there is actually some writing, which I'm not going to tell you what the writing is, but just to say, it is exceptionally close to the originals, if you get what I mean. Also, beneath that, there is the push button. So if I just cover up that writing there, you can see there is our little push button, which we use for synchronizing for the first time and for charging, all that kind of stuff. On the bottom, obviously, it's going to be a lightning port. So we've got a lightning port in the bottom there. And as I said previously, in the actual packaging, we do have a very nice looking USB cable with the lightning connector on. Again, that looks very similar to what you'd expect to see if this was the Apple alternative. Which is odd saying that, Apple alternative. Really, Apple should be the original, this should be the alternative, but I think these days the clones are actually becoming the go-to devices because they have all the extra features that we don't actually get in the AirPods. I'll be interested to know, let me know in the comments, do you see AirPods now as being the kind of secondary device over some of these clones? Let me know, I'll be interested to see what your thoughts are. Anyway, that's the case looked at, so if we flip open the lid, inside we can see there are our AirPod clones. Now these actually do look pretty much identical to the original deal. And what is actually beneficial on these ones now is it has a form of the H1 chip, which is an upgraded version from the previous chip in the other AirPod clones. These actually have something new up their sleeve, which is the ear sensing. So these will actually sense when they are actually in your ear. So if you're listening to music and they're in your ears and you remove one of them, it will automatically pause your music for you, which is something which we haven't had on fake AirPods previously. So this is actually a big step up. And also with the H1 chip, we still get the things like battery levels being shown for both the case and the individual pods themselves. So you know exactly what is going on with your battery levels. Now I have used this on both my Android device, which is the Xiaomi Mi A2, and I've also used it on an older Apple device. This is a iPhone 5S, I believe. I think, probably. And I found them to work fantastically with both devices. The sound quality is brilliant. If I'm completely honest, they're not quite as rich and full-bodied as the Air 2s, which I reviewed recently, which you can also check out up here, but they are very, very close. And some of the extra features you get in these over the Air 2, such as the H1 chip and the ear sensing itself, maybe that makes up for the sound quality in some respects. I wouldn't say they're poor by any means. The sound quality is very, very good, but it's just not quite as good as the Air 2. Okay, so we've talked about the H1 chip, so let's actually see it in action. So here's our iPhone 5S, and if we open up the lid now, we should get the pop-up. There is actually a noticeable lag on this, so if we press on connect, and now it says we've got to press and hold the button, so we'll hold the button on the back, and that should start synchronization, and there we go, we're synchronized. So now it's come up with the pop-up, and it's give us our levels. So the AirPods at the moment, I've got 100% charge, which makes sense because we've not used them a great deal, and the actual case itself, it actually remembered from when I had this connected before, it initially showed as 60%, and because these have been fully charged, it is now showing 100%. So that's fantastic, we're all ready to go. And literally once that is done, all you need to do then is to open the lid, take them out, stick them in your ear, and you can listen to your music. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Let's find the Surfer app, which is one we use quite frequently. Now when these are loading up or booting up, you do get the kind of like noises going on, saying that they're pairing and all that kind of stuff. But it's not very distracting, and it's actually quite useful because you can tell that they're both working. I kind of like that. Some people don't like the notifications. It is a kind of like a noise. It makes a sound, like a ding noise, rather than being one of those kind of Chinese voices or whatever it is. So that is quite nice. So if we go in and listen to some music, and one of the first things that you notice about this when you start them up is actually there's a quality to the sound, which actually is a really nice, it's got a very nice tone to it. So I'm just going to turn this up a little bit. Now that's one thing actually that these don't have. You don't have the option for adjusting the sound actually from the buds themselves. There are features to them, and actually if I go through the manual a minute, I will tell you what the features are, because some of the actual touch controls are slightly counterintuitive if you've used previous AirPods. So let's go through the clicks. Okay, so I failed to find the instructions actually in the instruction manual, and actually they're not on there, so you do have to go back to the Etmaxter site to get the touch controls, but I suppose once you've learned them, it's not the end of the world at all. So play pulls, we've got Smart Sense, so if you basically take one out of your ear, it will pause, put it back in, and it starts playing again within a very quick time. To choose the next song, you have to tap on the right earbud for 4 times, which is a little bit odd in my opinion. I'm not entirely keen on that. I'm used to the kind of one touch play pulls, 2 taps to move a track forward or back depending on which ear you're using. It does work on the other way, so previous song, on the left earbud, if you tap 4 times, it'll go back to your previous song. If you want to activate your intelligent assistant, such as your Alexa or Google Home or whatever it may be, then you can tap on the left earbud for 3 seconds, and if you want to answer or end a call, you tap the earbud for 2 seconds, so just press and hold for 2 seconds and that will answer or end a call, so it's not just a single tap like it would be for play pulls. So some of the controls on here are, in my opinion, slightly counterintuitive if you've used previous models before. Again, that is just my opinion. Maybe some of you would be absolutely fine with that. For me, that is one of the things that slightly detracts from the rest of the features of these AirPods. So again, check out the website, look at the controls, see if it kind of works for you. What I'll also do now is I'll go through some of the other features and the specifications that are actually on the website, which are not actually in the instructions there. So the basics, it'll work with pretty much any Bluetooth enabled device, so iPhone, Android, MacBook, PC, etc. Obviously your PC is going to need to have a Bluetooth adapter to enable you to connect. The pop-up window support is for iOS 12 and 13. There are no flashing lights whatsoever, which you possibly have noticed already. There are no flashing lights on the pods themselves. It is entirely on the charging box. We've got smart sensor technology. Again, as I said before, the actual dot on the inside is actually a sensor, as it would be on the original AirPods or AirPods 2. So that works as is intended. So it will sense if it's actually in your ear or not, which is really good. You've got 2 to 4 hour playback time. So full volume, you'd be looking at a maximum of around about 2 hours. On kind of lower volumes, up to 4 hours. You've got, like I said before, it says 1 hour charge time, so I think they've probably overestimated that a little bit. It's slightly closer to 3/4 of an hour, but I guess depending on what you're charging from, plug-wise, socket-wise, whatever it may be. You've got over 400 plus hours of standby time, so when they're actually in the charging box and not being used, they're not going to go flat pretty quickly like some of the original AirPods did, which if you're not a very regular user of the AirPods and you just want to use them periodically, then as long as it's within 400 hours, you should be absolutely fine. So that's quite a nice feature. You've also got the ability to use the earbuds independently or simultaneously. So simultaneously, like I am at the moment, or you can use them as individual earbuds. So just put one in the box and use one on its own. Some of you like that feature. I personally don't. I think for listening to music, you should have 2, but in some instances, 1 is preferable. As we said before, the full actual power is displayed on the iPhone in the pop-up app. In the Android version, as you swipe down on your menu in Android Pie, you just get your percentage meter of the actual pods themselves. It doesn't register what is in the charging box, so bear that in mind if you're an Android user. Fast shipping from China, and they do ship worldwide. So like I said before, you've got free shipping if you choose the 4 to 8 days option, at least for the UK. I'm not sure what the shipping rates or times are for other countries. I'd imagine they'd be very similar. Also, which is a nice thing to see, we've got the 30-day happiness guarantee, which other companies have used. And in my opinion, this is a very good way of doing it. So you can purchase these happy in the knowledge that if you don't like them within a 30-day period, you're going to have the option to either get them refunded or returned or exchanged or whatever you need to do. So for me, that is a great selling point for these particular models. So yeah, like we said before, Bluetooth range, we've got 20 to 30 meters, which is pretty much standard for Bluetooth 5.0. The output on the Bluetooth, or the kind of the power of them, is 30 milliwatts, if that's important to you. Again, I'll do the hand test actually and see what the yeah, no problems at all. So normally doing that hand cup test, if one of them drops out, it's a sign that you're going to have problems with these, even just walking down the street with the kind of your phone in your butt pocket and just walking along. But I don't think this is going to be a problem at all. I have actually used these walking up and down to the shops and what have you. Haven't experienced any dropouts whatsoever, so that's fantastic news, because dropouts on wireless devices are an absolute pain, and that would be one thing which would prevent me from buying a device these days, because dropouts now in 2019 going into 2020, dropouts from Bluetooth devices is just not acceptable. Not acceptable, rather. Yeah, definitely not a good thing. So like we said, in the box you get 2 earbuds, you get the, actually it says on here what's in the box. It says 2 earbuds, 2 ear hooks, 2 silicone protective, 1 silicone protective case, 1 anti-loss strap, charging case, charging cable, instruction manual, and a travel carrying bag. So maybe that's something they've updated recently. I didn't receive that with mine, and actually mine were sent to me by Etmaxter for review purposes, and that in no way kind of changes my editorial view on these. I said to them, I will review them. If they're good, I will say they're good. If they're bad, I'll say they're bad. I'm not going to mince my words. We've seen so many of these AirPod clones, and there have been some pretty bad ones on the market, which I've just not reviewed or not got into any depth with, because there's just no point. I wouldn't want to share that with you. I wouldn't want to mislead you. And I get so many comments on a daily basis saying, I've got X, Y, Z, whatever it is, and they don't work, or one of my AirPods isn't working, or how do I reset them? And my first question is, where did you buy them? I only review and use buds that I trust from. So obviously Etmaxter, you've got the Spinning Deal and Nokia's are 3 that I use on a regular basis, and I find them all to be exceptionally reliable and exceptionally trustworthy. So this is a new product for me from Etmaxter, so hopefully, Etmaxter, sorry. So hopefully we're going to have a long relationship, and as they keep on bringing out new AirPods, we'll be reviewing them. But as I've said previously with the Spinning Deal and Nokia's, if I get any issues whatsoever, or if you get any problems with them, please do let me know. I will share it, I will look into it, and if it turns out to be a bad company, which I don't think it will be, we'll certainly be all over that and make sure that you're all aware of it. So anyway, that's my little rant over and done with. This has been my review and unboxing of the Etmaxter TWS i200 AirPod clones. I've been Mike, this is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll be catching you and Etmaxter in the next video. Thanks for watching.